Your family's arriving, the tree's going up, the heating is blasting probably. It is the best time of year, right? It's chaotic, it's crazy. There is always ridiculous music on repeat, let's be honest, but I love it. And then January rolls around and you finally get a chance to sit back peacefully into that beautiful little plant corner you created. You look over and your fiddle leaves like dropped 12 leaves or something. And you're standing there like, what the hell? Here's the sneaky truth. One of these stresses alone that I'm going to talk through won't kill your plants, but all 5 stacked up over Christmas weeks, that's the combo that turns healthy plants into January casualties. And one of them is probably hitting your plants right now, I guarantee it. So you're going to start by putting up the tree. To me, it's literally the sign that starts Christmas early, right? Putting up the tree and the decor in your house. And the tree itself is probably going to go near your best, biggest window. Because let's be honest, you want it visible to the neighbors. You're going to put all that effort into it. Plus, if you've got a real tree, you want to give it that little bit more light for that little bit longer, I'd imagine. But that's when plants start getting shuffled around. Living room to hallway, hallway to bedroom, back to the living room, while you're just trying to figure out where everything fits in its new space. I mean, it is a bit of like festive furniture Tetris, really, isn't it? Anyway, and the thing is, every time you move a plant, it has to readjust itself to its new lighting situation. And also plants like consistency. They don't like being moved around. So if you're moving your plants around in different spots 2 or 3 times in a couple of weeks, then that's when your plants start to get really soppy, right? Your fiddle leaf might start dropping leaves, your rubber plant will definitely drop leaves. Not because you've killed it, it's probably just confused about where it lives and it's probably not getting enough light. So if you're moving plants around for the tree, then just find a place and move them once. Pick a spot with decent lighting and then just leave them there until the tree comes down. Think of it like a little plant holding zone for the holidays. I've learned too many times that moving plants around too much just confuses them and they throw tantrums and you don't even know it until 5 or 6 weeks later. Oh, and a quick tip. If you've got a beautiful plant corner or, a beautiful setup of your plants in that window that you're super proud of and you don't want to lose it, then a quick tip is just take a photo of that corner before you move the plants. And then in January, when the tree comes down and you genuinely cannot remember the Tetris that you've done, then the photo just saves you, right? Trust me on this one, it is so much easier just to go back to your photo. And of course, just to say hardy plants, like the snake plants or the 𝐍𝐞𝐞𝐝 plants, they'll survive getting shuffled, don't worry about them. And your pothos will probably be fine too, wherever you dump it. I mean, that thing is indestructible in my eyes. But if you put effort into your fiddle or your variegated monstera, moving them once instead of 3 times prevents stress. Okay, so while we're talking about the tree, there's one more sneaky thing that always happens. That tree usually goes up in front of your best window because, as I said, honestly, that's where it looks magical, right? Lights twinkling, visible from the street, the neighbors can admire your festive glow, right? It's pretty perfect. But for your plants, the spot that was their prime real estate in front of that big window, now they're basically living in a much more darker place for the next 3 or 4 weeks straight. Any monstera, fiddle leaf fig, Hoya that was loving some bright light, or even any variegated plants, will suddenly find themselves behind a wall of pine and decorations. Always remember, our eyes adjust to lighting changes super fast. They're amazing things, actually, our eyes. So what still looks bright enough to us after the tree goes up can be way dimmer than we realize. So the plants will be sitting there under what feels now like twilight, even though to us it looks fine. So if you're ever unsure, just a quick chat with a light meter or even some phone apps can help you, and it can be really eye-opening. Pun fully intended, obviously. Of course, the easy fix if your tree has to take the premium window spot, move your most light-hungry plants to another window temporarily, like we did in the first point. Not a hallway or a shadowy corner, an actual window. And again, your tougher plants, like the snake plant or the pothos, don't worry about them. They can hang out next to the tree for a few weeks without complaining. But then as soon as the tree comes down, everything goes back into their spot, especially with help from that photo you took. Right, tree chaos is sorted, but even if you nail the moving thing perfectly, there's probably still one stress that's happening while you sleep that'll still mess with your plants. I'll show you which one in just a minute. So now we're into December and you are either right in the middle of winter or right in the middle of summer, and your climate control is probably running constantly. If you're in the Northern Hemisphere and you're going through winter, the heating is probably on full blast by now. Down here in Australia, it's air conditioning. It's 35 degrees Celsius today. But it is the same problem for your plants either way. I'm talking about the humidity on your home. It will drop, and it will drop quite a lot through dry air, through the blasting, like climate control things. So usually a house's normal average humidity, depending on where you live, of course, can be 40, 50, 60%. Here in Sydney, it's probably 55, 60% average, which is lovely. But if you turn the aircon on or the heating on, it can drop easily down to 30, even 20% humidity, which is really low and really dry air. And tropical plants hate this. And the problem is, most of the plants we buy from our big box store or our nurseries are tropical plants, especially the more fussy ones like we always talk about, calatheas, ferns, or prayer plants really, alocasias. They're not happy in a low dry heat, low humidity dry heat. You'll honestly start to see crispy brown edges on the leaves, your tips will be turning brown, and you might even start to see the leaves curling up a little bit like they're trying to protect themselves. That's why I do this. Which they kind of are, because what they're doing is they're closing up their leaves so the pores, or they're called stomata, can reduce the water loss in the dry air. So they are protecting themselves. And once those edges go crispy, they don't recover. You can't get your green leaf back. So look, move your plants away from direct heat sources or drafts or air conditioning vents. Not across the room necessarily, just far enough that they're not getting the blasted air every time the system kicks on. If you stand next to your plant and you can feel the cold air or the hot air hitting you on your skin, then it's too close. So if you have humidity loving plants and you actually want to keep them looking good through the holidays, well, a humidifier does help. Or you can group them together to create a little bit more of humidity around that zone. It increases by 1 or 2%. Again, make sure that's away from the drafts. But of course, again, more drought loving plants like succulents, cacti, and most aroids particularly, like a pothos, they generally don't care about dry air for 3 or 4 weeks. They'll be fine. But as I said, fussy plants, calatheas, anthuriums, orchids, yeah, they'll notice. I've watched them go crispy before, and honestly, for me, I'd rather just prevent that stress with those plants that I already find a little bit hard to look after. Now look, I get it. Many of the things I've already touched on might seem a bit obvious, but that is half the battle. The things that I'm talking about are the things we always miss when life gets too frantic. So these 5 things that I'm talking about are just little reminders from me to help you and your plants get through Christmas. And the last point that I'm going to talk about today out of these 5 might feel like a lot, but I promise you it's just really one and done and so worth it. You'll see what I mean as we get to it. So December is chaos. You're hosting, you're traveling, family's visiting from everywhere. And if you're like me, you're just trying to figure out the Christmas shopping list that will please every vegan, vegetarian, pescatarian, omnivorian, whatever it is in your family. I want to make sure I've got food for everybody. That's how I roll. And your plants, they're still on their normal schedule. Your peace lily that drinks every 7 days is going to be absolutely drooping by day 10 when you finally remember to check in on her. That's just life when things get busy, right? We forget some things, it's fine. And so your plants that don't like to dry out will stress a lot more than usual in December. And stressed plants show problems. And unfortunately, those problems come up 3 or 4 weeks down the track. They don't necessarily come up straight away. So if you've got visitors coming about a week before the chaos hits or a couple of days before, just go through all of your plants and check all the plants that you need to look after. Anything that's close to needing a water gets watered, obviously. And then my advice is to keep a watering can or a moisture meter or something visible in the next few weeks, like on the kitchen counter or maybe like a shelf somewhere close by that you can see it out of the corner of your eye. Because when you see it, you'll remember to check on the watering needs of some of those fussy plants. So for the plants you really care about keeping perfect, if you know you're going to be distracted for several days, you can actually do something extra and move them into the bathroom, for example. I have this bathtub fortress trick that always works. It's the same setup for me when I travel. It's a bit of water in the bottom of the tub, and then I put the plants in, and then they stay damp while I'm dealing with visitors and guests for a little while. I've got a whole video around my plant care tactics. I've got 4 different methods of all of the different plants, and I'll leave the link for you just here if you want to go check it out. Or of course you can just set phone reminders every 3 or 4 days, just something that pings you to check. That's why I said put that watering can out as a reminder. And remember, if you want help figuring out which plants are worth the effort for your specific home, or you want seasonal care tips or plant problem solving hacks, join my Leafy Lounge newsletter. It's free, it's sent out every Thursday, and the link is in the description just down below if you want to know more. Oh, I need to move now. Okay, then there's the whole guest situation, right? People coming in and out, doors opening constantly, cold drafts, temperature swings, fluctuations everywhere. I said fluctuations, by the way. Your climate control is trying to keep up, so it's probably cycling more than usual. Plus, of course, a lot of traffic means a lot of accidents, maybe more physical disturbance. Bags get set down, people brushing against plants. If you've got people coming over with dogs and you've got excited dogs, they'll knock everything over. That's what happens to me. There's just a lot of chaos. And some plants just really don't handle the chaos well. Calatheas get stressed from temperature swings. Even peace lilies can look droopy after only a couple of days with chaos like this and all these different changes. So if you're hosting people and you have plants that you actually care about, that you want to keep pristine, then just move the fussiest ones somewhere quieter for the holidays. Kind of like in the bathroom situation. Things like your fiddle leaf fig, your alocaceas, your orchids, the dramatic ones. Put them in a bedroom or an office somewhere where you can close the door and they aren't just constantly being walked by. Or just position your plants away from the door, not in the direct path. And I learned this the hard way with my fiddle leaf fig, which is why he sits outside away from everybody. And he seems to like it there. So that's what Christmas does to your plants. 5 things that stuck up while you're busy celebrating. You don't have to do all of this for all of your plants, just the ones you care about keeping happy and probably the more fussy ones that we have. You just have to decide which ones matter enough to you to get that full treatment. Now in the next video, I'll walk you through the exact travel setup, as I mentioned a bit earlier, that bathtub fortress where plants can be ignored, the whole kit and caboodle and the whole setup. So click here to watch that next. Have an amazing Christmas full of presents, pine cones and poinsettias and leaves, love and laughter, obviously. Have a great time with your family and I will see you in this next video just here. See you later, guys. Bye.
Mercy, can you hop out the way, please? Mercy? Mercy, I'm